Hey there, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for watching. Here's what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to show you this classic vibe 60s Stratocaster, and I'm going to do a comparison to the 50s classic vibe Stratocaster that you see right there on the wall. Now they're both great guitars. I can tell you right out of the gate they are very similar. The feel is almost identical. I'm not sure I could pick out a difference if I was blindfolded, but there's aesthetic differences, and they are both great guitars in their own right. So we'll start with a quick visual comparison, and then I'll plug them into the amp and see if they're any different. Okay, let's get started. Okay, here we go. We'll start with the headstock as usual, and we see it's a fender shape, which of course we would expect, and they're using the spaghetti logo for the Squier there. Now I notice it says Stratocaster right there, and it does not have that little original contour body logo. I noticed the 60s version has sort of a standard string tree. I'm not sure what you call that, but it looks like the string tree you would see on most cheap guitars or expensive Fenders. Let's check out the 50s. Okay, there's the 50s, and we see it's almost identical. Same logo, same Stratocaster. There is no contour body logo, but it's using a round string tree, I suppose like they did in the 50s. So that's a difference right out of the gate. Let's check out the back, and we see they're using Kluson Deluxe style tuners, and they are not branded. All in all, a great look. This is a nice maple neck with no scarf joint. Let's check out the 60s. Okay, here's the 60s, and we see the same tuners, Kluson Deluxe, no branded, and a nice maple neck with no scarf joint. Now both of these guitars have the really nice dark aged tint on the neck, which is one of my favorite things about these classic vibes. Now the 60s version that I'm holding now has a Indian laurel fingerboard. So this is sort of replicating the dark fingerboard from a 60s Strat, which would have been rosewood back in the day. But it gets you there visually. Let's check out the 50s. Okay, there's the 50s, and we see true to 50s styling. There is no rosewood fingerboard. All we see here is the natural maple fingerboard, and it's not a separate fingerboard, it's part of the neck. It's just the neck. Now the frets on both of these guitars are finished very well. I'm not getting any discomfort running my fingers up there, and they both feel like a medium C carve to me. I was expecting the 50s to be a little deeper, but I think they're the same. Let's just segue and make sure. Cha-cha! Okay, here's the 60s, and it feels about the same neck carve to me. It may be a slight bit thinner, but so close I couldn't really tell. They both feel ideal as a Strat neck to me. So let's work our way up the neck as usual. We see the neck fit in the pocket is perfect. And I almost didn't have to look because I've had enough classic vibes to know it's gonna fit just right. But let's check out the 50s. And there's the 50s and a perfect neck fit again. While we're here, there's the neck plate. It says Squier on it. And it's really nice 4-bolt as we would expect from the 50s. Let's check out the 60s. Okay, there's the 60s. Same neck plate, and it says Squier. Now the Strat is of course going to be the right body shape for a 60s Strat, and they both are the same shape. This one happens to be white with a mint pickguard. Let's check out the 50s. Okay, there's the 50s, and we notice it's done in a burst, a two-tone burst, which would be true to the 50s styling. And the wood is visible on this one. I'm going to have to research what this bodywood is. It looks like alder to me, but I have a doubt that they're using alder. Anyway, I'll figure it out and label it up here. So we may as well look at the bridge on the 50s, and it's a nice quality bridge. It's a vintage style 6-screw bridge, and it's got the tremolo arm. Individual saddles, of course, on a strat for intonation. Let's check out the 60s. There's the 60s, and it is the same bridge. I forgot to mention they are stamped saddles as well on both guitars. Now they're both using 3 single coil pickups, as traditional strat would have, and it is a 5-way switch. We have a single volume and 2 tone, just like you would expect. I won't bother running through the positions, I'm sure you all know. And if not, you'll figure it out. Okay, let's check out the 50s. And there we see it is the same. They look to be the same pickups. I will research and flag if they're not, but they are staggered pull pickups. And this is a 5-way switch as well. 1 volume and 2 tone. So this is exactly what we'd expect from a 50s strat as well as the 60s. Although a 50s strat, I believe, would be a 3-position switch if we were looking at a vintage guitar, but not unusual that they would be upgraded with a 5. There's the output jack. Decent quality, not much to say there. Let's check out the 60s. Okay, here's the 60s. We see it is the same output jack, and there's an 11-screw pickguard. Now I really like this mint green. Let's check out the 50s. So here is the 50s, and we see it has an 8-screw pickguard. So that's truer to 50s styling. It's also worth note, it's a single ply pickguard on the 50s. Let's check out the 60s. Okay, so there's the 60s strat, and we see it gets the 3-ply pickguard. So it does look a little more like a 60s strat. So there we go, that's the visual inspection. They are almost identical guitars, just as we would expect, but the visual cues are right in order with what we'd want for the different eras. I'm impressed already. I can't wait to plug them in. Let's see how they sound.